In this tutorial, we are going to dive into how to create a shop on Squarespace. But first, there's a few things I just want to mention. Squarespace is honestly a really solid e-commerce option for creative entrepreneurs, service providers, or product-based businesses that don't have a ton of products. If you are somebody who is going to have more than 20 products, I think going Shopify is a much better route. I'll link some of my favorite Shopify website designers below in an article. But if you're focused on Squarespace, I love how they have really gorgeous templates that are super easy to customize. It's great for somebody who's not super techy. There are built-in tools for inventory, tax, and shipping. Some drawbacks, just to be aware of, is there is limited product filtering and variant options. Again, this could change. I'm sure it will. Squarespace continually is improving the platform, but this is where they're at right now in 2025. The advanced analytics is only on higher tier plans if that's something you are wanting. There's no multi-currency or complex shipping features. And like I said, it's really not ideal if you're going to have more than 20 products. So really think about your end goal here. And if you're doing a ton of products, I probably wouldn't lean towards Squarespace. If we haven't met, my name is Becca, and I'm a website designer specializing in Squarespace, Shopify, and Showit websites. And if you are interested at all in learning how to create a high converting Squarespace website quickly, I'll link my free training that teaches you how to do it in a weekend. Okay, let's flip the screen and get started. If you don't have a website at all, I would say, first of all, use my link below. That'll give you a little bit of percentage off for your first year of your plan. But when you come to this template page, just pick one that has online store. So click on the online store. You can design to look like you could choose this one and make it end up looking like this one. So don't focus too much on the design, but this will just kind of set you up for having an online store, and you won't have to mess around with as many things later on. If you already have a website, then the way that you create an online store is go to account.squarespace, get to your website, and then we are going to add a store. So if you go to website pages, I usually will do this under not linked. That just means it's not going to go in your menu right off the bat. And then we will go store. Doesn't really matter what design you pick because, again, you can change the design. So don't focus too much on that. We'll just go with this one for now. It'll pop it down here. Let's retitle it shop or something like that. And then we're going to go back really quick. If you click on this settings wheel, this is where you can edit some of the page title, navigation, that type of thing. So if I would have kept it as what it initially came up as, which was store 2, the URL slug would have probably said store-2. So just make sure that you change that to say store, shop, whatever you want. The only other thing that I would mention on here is this top category. You can later on have categories. If you sell, let's say, a bunch of, shirts or whatever, you could change this to be shirts. And all of them will be filtered in the beginning as that. So we're just going to keep it as all. Again, if you want to create categories, you can. I'm going to skip that. SEO is the only other one I want to touch on because if you know me, you know I am very passionate about search engine optimization and making sure that your website is actually showing up on Google. So right here, it's going to, again, pull up that store 2. So just make sure you change your SEO title to feature exactly what you are selling. And the SEO description or the meta description, you really want to create it to be very compelling, engaging, explain a little bit more. So if it's shirts you're selling, who is it for, what kind of designs are they, things that would really capture the attention. Social image, feel free to change that out. That's just going to pull if somebody shares your store on Facebook, let's say. And then advanced, we're not going to go into that right now. So that's just the basic store things. And then let's click on shop. You'll have automatic items that pop up here. So you could just go in and edit those things. However, I'm going to create a new item. So you go to the plus, and these are our options. So usually you're selling like a physical product, a gift card, maybe a digital download. Those are pretty popular, especially for service providers. So I'm just going to click physical first. And then this is where you're just adding in all of the information. So the product name, maybe we'll say like female entrepreneur shirt. Maybe it's like, a cute little coffee and co. I don't know. I'm not a shirt designer. And then add to cart is fine. You could change that to be whatever you want. If if you click on additional info, the product page doesn't allow for a lot of design. It's kind of limited. So this is where you can really change out the design. And this is the classic builder. This is what Squarespace used to look like all across the board. And so we will just select from library, put an image in there. And then if you want to make the image smaller, if you click that little plus, you have to add a spacer to the side of the image. So if you see the blue is all the way on the side, pull it in across that image and it will just make the image smaller. So we'll put one spacer on that side. We'll put a spacer on the other side as well. Oops. So then that's how you make, it's a little irritating, but that's how you do it in there. You can add buttons, of course, by clicking that plus and button, whatever you need to do. So then we'll just apply that. Forms. So let's say you want to capture some information for the form. Maybe you need more details in order to ship it or things like that. This is where you would add that. You would create a new form and you can just add as many form fields as you want, whether it's like a drop down, asking for their phone number, things like that. I don't really want to put a form on there. So I'm going to discard it. Image is something that you definitely need to put because it's going to pull on the main page. So make sure you add an image. You can add a couple images and it'll switch over. I'll show you what that looks like. Okay, can't add stock images. Let's just go like this really quick. Okay, price. We're not doing on sale. The stock, if you have a limited stock, make sure you change that. And you will flip over that little toggle and put how many you have in stock. If it's as many as, if you have unlimited, you'll have that be unlimited. Okay, variants. So this is like if there's different variations of the color or the sizes or whatever, this is where you're going to put that material, that type of thing. So, you know, you would do small, medium, comma, large, comma. If you do comma, it will add all the variants like that. And then fulfillment. So when you're shipping a product, let's say you're shipping a book, that's going to be really expensive, right? So you really do want to get the weight and the dimensions of those items prior to creating this so that shipping, I mean, unless you want to cover shipping, but you can add that right there. So, you know, once you get that in, you would put that. And then categories is a great thing to do, especially as your shop grows. So this one, you know, I put under shirts or whatever it is. So yeah, just right off the bat, put categories, tags. I honestly usually skip it in blog posts as well as this type of thing, but feel free to add that. If you want to set up your automated tags, you can do that. You will need some specific information to add in there, like addresses and things like that. And then selling tools. So if you want to make this a featured product, you can click that. You could add related products. Right now, I don't have any other products, so it's not going to show. And then down here is the marketing. So as we're clicking through, it's just all this on the left-hand side. So I'm going to skip over marketing. But if you want to add in a social image or whatever, you can. And then you can publish it or you could schedule the item, whatever you want. And you will see it come up right down there. So they can select it, they can add it to their cart, and that is how you are adding items to your shop. Okay, let's chat about setting up additional selling settings. So we're going to go back to the main page. And we'll go to products right here. If you click on products, you can see the one product I created, but you can also filter them and get all that type of thing. I don't have any services. I don't have any gift cards, but if I did, this is where I could do it. And you can always add a product from here as well. Orders, once the orders start to come in, you will see them right here. Discounts is great to, you know, get some hype around your things. So adding a discount, you can give them a percentage off. You can also have like triggers that apply at checkout. So this is a great thing to maybe look into once your store is set up and you're wanting to, get some traction or do a Black Friday sale or anything like that. Also, if you are wanting to do any type of Black Friday sale, I'm going to link a summit I'm doing in the next month. This summit is for anybody who wants to have a successful Black Friday sale, and it's really for people who are maybe newer at Black Friday sales or have never hit that 5-figure mark. And our goal is really to prepare you and equip you so that you're not scrambling last minute. It's not just something you throw together, because those don't convert as well. Anyway, moving on. So we talked about this. Let's cancel that. Okay, and then selling tools is the main thing I wanted to touch on. So if you are going to ever sell in person, I would definitely set up the point of sales. Wait lists are great to build some hype around your things, so definitely set that up. The main thing on here that I wanted to talk about is customer notifications. But again, you can look at all these things. Accounting, if you want to like download a spreadsheet, give it to your tax person, that's where you would do that. But let's go to customer notifications, since that's really important to edit these emails. And we'll go edit email here. And this is where you can edit what the email looks like. This is the email that, well, they're all different, right? So if you come over here, you can kind of see what the different emails are for. But this is where like the email they get when they purchase something or things like that. So edit email. And then you can, of course, edit the background. This part is very similar to probably what you're used to if you've been designing on Squarespace. You can also click on quickly match your styles, and that'll just kind of populate it to look like what your brand is. And then if you want to change the wording or configuration of different types of emails, if you come on this left-hand side, you will see like this is the order confirmation emails under products and services. If you have like memberships, these are the emails that will go out for the memberships. So feel free to go into each of these and change whichever one you want for your product. I would definitely customize these because they are very generic, especially like the order fulfilled type of one. Or if you have subscription, you'll definitely want to go into those ones. So those, go through them, make sure those all look good. And once those look good, the next step is to come back. Going into selling, this is where you set up how you get paid, right? So payments, you will definitely want to connect PayPal. If you usually Stripe, they now have Squarespace payments. You can do that if your account allows for that. Square, if you are doing in-person sales. So connect as many as you can just to give your customers a ton of options of ways to pay you. You don't want that to be a holdback. And then customer accounts is great if your product is something where they will purchase a lot of things, then they can go back into their account, check in, get their receipts or whatever. But it also just makes it easier, especially if they are somebody who are repeat customers. Cart, this is like what your cart looks like, but I would definitely enable express checkout, which just allows them to bypass things so that they can go directly to the checkout. And then customizing your checkout pages. So recover abandoned carts. These are huge for conversion. So I would definitely set up an automation there. And then, you can look through you, just see if any of these apply to you. Taxes, definitely want to set that up. So look at like what the taxes are in your state, in your country. Shipping, again, I mentioned this, but if you are doing shipping, you could import it from Etsy, or you can add the shipping, and then you can either do like flat rates, or you can have it based on how much your product weighs, that type of thing. So you want to do that all under shipping. And then, so that's the majority of the setup for just getting the logistics of getting your product ready. Now let's talk about the design of your shop page. So we'll go into customizing the products as well as just the overall design of the page. If you are using Squarespace 7.1, you should probably know how to do this. It's very similar to designing any other page. So you add a section, you can choose a blank section and design it exactly if you want. If you've saved sections on your website, you can always just grab that. And it's just a matter of dragging and dropping all the blocks to where you want them. Going down to the shop section, this one has a little bit less customization, but you still can customize it. So let's go to edit section here. If you go to colors, this is where you can change like the background of the shop. I would just keep it on lightest one probably. And then you can change spacing, all done right here. You can choose, multiple columns of your items. You can change the text alignment. All of that is done right there. You can also get rid of that add to cart button if you want. And then the other thing I really like is the sidebar. So like, let's say up here it had multiple categories. So shirts, pants, just imagine, use your imagination here. If we put it in the sidebar, now it's going to be along the side. So that's kind of cool. Little customization that you can do. And then once you are thinking this is good to go, you can save it. And you now have customized your shop page. Adding testimonials is a great thing to do to the product page as well as your overall page. So I would definitely go in and edit that. And then it's just a matter of changing out the actual content, right? The actual products. One other thing to note before I dive into the products is you can go into site styles up here. This is a little paintbrush. And manipulate a couple more things. So let's go to colors. And then like it's in lightest one, so click on lightest one. And then if you scroll down, you can find the section that talks about products. And so once you find that, there are, again, a few things. There it is. That you can change. So the title, you could change that. The price, so that's the title of the thing right down there if you didn't see that go. The price you could change right down there. So there are some little tweaks you can do in here, as well as like the product detail pages. This is where you would do that, which that's once you click on the product and it pulls up, that's those pages. Just know that if you change it on like one of the product detail pages, it's going to go across all the product detail pages. But that's where you do all of those things. And once you think they're good, just click save. So now let's dive into the product details. Scroll back down, go to all. Let's click on that item. And there are a couple different manipulations you can do here. So if you go to this is the simple layout. The wrap looks a little bit more like this, kind of wrapping around the images. Full, this image at the top is going to take up the whole thing. And then half, which I think I really like, has that. So those are the different types of kind of manipulations. One thing to note is that there's not a lot of customizations you can do if you choose half, full, or wrap. However, if you use simple, there is more customizations below that you are able to do. So the design, you could have the images be stacked instead of slideshow. You could have them be a carousel. You can have the variants be changed, the display, this type of thing right here. Text alignment, the product navigation, the breadcrumbs is this up here. So let me turn it off to just kind of show you what that looks like. So now back on, and what that means is like, okay, they're on the shop and then they're on, wow, good job spelling entrepreneur, Becca. They're on the female entrepreneurship shirt. So it just shows like how they landed there, and they could always just click shop to go back to the main shop. You can change, the aspect of the images, all that stuff. So again, if you want to do those things, that is all going to be done under a simple type of thing. Colors, right here, you can change the color of this product. And so let's just go colors, light one, save it. And then let's go to a different product. And this one is also going to be changed to that light one. So just so that you're aware, if you make that change on one of your products, it's going to change on the other products. So I would probably just do the lightest, most cohesive, clear option. So that is the designing of products as well as the designing of the shop page. The very last thing I just wanted to touch on was once you have a shop, it's really advantageous to have this little shop icon. So if you are not seeing that, click edit on any page, go to edit site header and go add elements. And then if you come down to cart, you'll just want to toggle that on. And that again will just show what's going on there. So You also can click on the cart and then click on the pencil and change up some of the design things there, like making it larger, or if you want to show like how many items people are adding to their cart, you can toggle that on or toggle it off. If this is like one of your main things is shopping, I would really make it bold and obvious that, this is one of the big things, kind of like how I make the contact really bold and obvious. So let me know below if you guys have any questions about adding a store. And if you're wondering still, like, I don't know, Shopify, Squarespace, what type of one is right for me, leave a comment below and I will help guide you on my opinion.